Good afternoon, and welcome to More Than Meets the Eye. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today I have for you G.I. Joe Classified series, Zartan. He came out in 2021. There are two Zartans out there, from what I understand. A really nice Comic Con exclusive one that I was unable to get a hold of, and then the retail release, which is got apparently less paint and less accessories, but all in all is exactly the same figure. Well, I mean, minus the color change aspect, which is something that, as a blind person, I don't really care about. So, ooh, I missed out on color change. Wow. All right. What are my eyes going to feast upon now? Ooh. Well, that was me being sarcastic. All right, so let's talk about Zartan here. Zartan's a really unique character. He's actually one of my favorite villains from the entirety of G.I. Joe, and that's mainly because of the stuff that he's pulled. Spoiler alert for anybody who doesn't know anything about Zartan or G.I. Joe. You see, one big story in G.I. Joe is that Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes absolutely hate each other, and they're constantly trying to kill each other. Storm Shadow is trying to, kill Snake Eyes because Storm Shadow thinks that Snake Eyes killed Storm Shadow's master and is blaming it on Storm Shadow. And Snake Eyes is trying to kill Storm Shadow because Snake Eyes thought he saw Storm Shadow killing Storm Shadow's master. And this leads to some issues between the two friends who were once basically brothers and now want to kill each other. Well, the person that did kill Storm Shadow's master was Zartan, pretending to be Storm Shadow because he's the master of disguise. And he's got these crazy nanites that allow him to change his entire body to make him look like anybody else. There's only been a few people, like I think it was Sergeant Payne, was able to tell the difference between Zartan and Gung Ho whenever they were like together. He knew the difference, but it's very rare that the Joes know the difference between the real one and the Zartan one. And that was a really cool story to have, is understanding like, oh, Zartan is a planner. In the G.I. Joe Retribution movie, the one that stars The Rock, Zartan plays the president in there. Spoilers again. And his master plan there is to get rid of all the nukes in the world, and they did it a very unique way that I'd never witnessed before in any type of media. So when it comes to things that are new and interesting in media, I eat them up. Like, I had never thought about everybody in the world launching their nukes and then everybody just canceling the nukes and making them dumb and totally non-explosive. And then the world was just free of nukes. And you know what? That movie was cool for that one moment of just, whoa. Even though Cobra had a crazy master plan, it was still Cobra. You did something really good for the entirety of the world there. I didn't know how to feel about that. But Zartan was the one that came up with the plan. And Zartan's the one that he's just that good. He is a supervillain. He is the supervillain. Anyway. All right, enough gushing about Zartan and his history. Let's talk about the figure. So, before we get into talking much about him, we got him all in his gear. We've got the Cobra infantry right here. We'll set them side by side. Hopefully they'll stand up well together. All right, so there's a side-by-side comparison, and I'll do a front and back in the sense of trying to figure out who's taller. And I've already measured this, but Zartan is just slightly taller than the infantry trooper, and it's kind of been the case with a lot of figures. Like, I thought the infantry trooper would be taller than most, but no, turns out he's about average size. So we'll set the infantry trooper off to the side, and we'll talk about Zartan here. So Zartan comes with a lot of accessories, and I absolutely love accessories, and I have some rules about my G.I. Joes. I consider the better ones to be the ones that come with a bunch of accessories, and then, in addition to coming with accessories, they come with a place to store them all on the figure. That is important to me. And that is important to many collectors, at least in my opinion. I hope it's important to a lot of collectors. But me as a individual with lack of sight, as a blind individual, it is important for me to be able to carry all the accessories of my figures on the figure so I don't lose them. And that's what I really appreciate about Zartan here. He is one of the Joes from the Classified series that carries it all. He's got it all. And he can carry everything, including his guns, so that he can just have his hands open, even though he's carrying all his equipment on him, which is something that I really, really enjoy. That's why the Trooper is one of my favorite GI Joes. And so let's talk about what this guy comes with. So first off, we're going to take off his backpack. So we'll spin him around so that those of you with eyes can get a good glimpse of what this guy looks like completely. He's a really cool guy. We could pull off his backpack here, and we'll talk about his backpack first, and then we'll get into him. So stay still, Zartan. Don't fall over. So his backpack has two little pegs, one on each side, that fit perfectly into the trigger guards for the guns. Luckily these are, toy guns, so putting a peg into the trigger area is not going to cause problems down the road. No accidental misfires. But he comes with this really unique pistol. I say it's unique because many of the Joes and the Cobras all come with very similar pistols to one another. Like all the Cobras just about have the same sort of pistol, and all the Joes just about have the same sort of pistol. And there's occasional where they're different, and this one's a different pistol. It's a nice pistol, but it feels more sci-fi. It's definitely got the this is from the future look and feel to it. We'll set the pistol off to the side. It's a nice pistol. It's got good molding. And then on the other side of the thing, he had another peg to store a gun, so I gave him one of the Alpha Commando Snake Eyes guns that Snake Eyes wasn't able to carry because he's already carrying so much stuff. And I thought that Zartan needed some sort of long-range weapon. I didn't like the fact that he just came with a pistol. I understand that the comic exclusive one, or the Comic Con exclusive one, comes with a sniper rifle as well. That's not the case here. I'll set the gun off to the side. And then we're going to get over here to this weird little snakehead doohickey that sits at the very bottom of this backpack. You could peel it off. I use this snakehead. It's just a really nice sculpted snakehead. At least I assume it's a snakehead, and it's got little fangs. So it's a really nice sculpt, and I used it in my Alpha Commandos. Usually Timber carries it around in his mouth because I think that's a really, really fun thing to do with Timber. All right. And the backpack itself has got some really great molding to it. You can feel it's a very sci-fi feeling backpack. And if I'm remembering everything correctly, this is supposed to be kind of an incubator for nanites, to keep them safe and viable when they're not on him. So he can put them in here to recharge and stuff. And you can actually peel the backpack open. Come on. It splits open down the sides, so that the pegs for the guns are going to be on the same side as the peg that fits into his back, and then everything else in the little peg holes that the little snake head and the hand go on are going to fit on on the other side of it. You can just split it in half, and one side doesn't have much molding in it. It's just a flat rectangle. And the other side actually has some really nice molding in there. And that was a surprise to me. I wasn't expecting the inside of the backpack to be molded, so good attention to detail. And I'm assuming there's some paint in there too. I mean, they wouldn't have just molded it without painting it, unless they did. All right. Now that I've split the backpack apart, we'll remove the hood for Zartan here. And the hood is another accessory. It's some sort of a sculpted leather feeling thing. It's really unique. It has a very, very amazing texture to it. Like, this is just, it's a nice hood. It is a really nice hood. And wow, I didn't even know he came with a hood whenever I got him. And I really like the hood. It's a fun little hood. It's not much more than just a hood though. It's got some cool textures to it. And it folds down on either side of his head, and it's just like basically a piece of cloth he threw over his head. And now we got his head here. We can remove his face mask. Now, I don't know which face this is supposed to be, but these face masks do remind me of Dungeons & Dragons 3.5, where you had the ghost-faced killer. He was a prestige class that you could get at a higher level, and he went around carrying a ghost face mask, and he'd only put it on whenever he'd want to kill, or she'd want to kill. So that was I was like, oh, he's a ghost-faced killer. But the mask fits inside the little backpack, so we can just set the mask right in there, in that little area. So it just sits, there we go. You just plug it in there, and then the backpack top will come on down and close around it, just like so. There you go. You got yourself a stored mask. Isn't that neat? Maybe I stored it backwards. I think I stored it backwards. Okay. So the mask is supposed to go on the inside, maybe, because it didn't really shut well. And then we're going to close it on top of that, like that. That one shut better. Okay, so you got to face the mask towards the back peg. So the eyes of the mask have to be facing towards the peg that will be plugged into the back of Zartan. We'll set that backpack off to the side. We're done with it. Now we'll talk about another couple of accessories he comes with. As you may or may not be able to see, I have put this weird monkey's paw thing he comes with, which is another little accessory you can peg onto his belt or his backpack. And this is just a weird one. I don't know. Maybe there's a story behind it. I'd really like to know why he comes with this hand and the snake head. It sort of feels voodoo-y to me, or I mean, he does live in a swamp, so maybe he's just sort of a voodoo master as well. We'll set the little hand off to the side. Okay. He also comes with this bandana that's around his neck, kind of like how Destro came with the really cool amulet around his neck. Occasionally, figures come with something neat around their necks, and this one's easy to remove, but I don't like removing it. It fits well there. He also comes with a knife that is basically a machete that stretches across his back that he can pull out. It's not a bad knife. It's a unique sculpt for a knife, but it's got a lot of similarities to the knife that the Alpha Commando Snake Eyes came with. And seeing as these two go against each other a lot, it makes sense that they have similar knives. Alright, we're done with accessories. Let's move into actually talking about the figure. So the figure, like I said, stands a little taller than an infantry trooper, and his head sculpt is very nice. You can feel he's kind of gotten these sunken in eyes. He's gaunt feeling, like really gaunt. Like his skin is pulled tight over his bones on his face. He reminds me a lot of, very similarly to the texture of a Red Skull. The figure. You could feel this guy is barely even human anymore. Um, he's got really nice armor sculpting. He's got these cool pauldrons that flip down over both of his shoulders. They're made out of that really nice rubberized stuff that can mold just a bit and allow you to do some nice physical actions. You can pick his arm up. Butterfly joints he does have, but they're not really great. But they do exist. Butterfly joints exist on him, and he's got all the normal posability that you would normally get from a GI Joe. He's got the double jointed elbows, the double jointed knees, the crazy I go everywhere feet. Unlike the Transformers, it isn't just one side of the heel that swivels, it's both sides of the heel that swivels. This is really cool. You can even swivel the foot around like that and just have him. He stepped in something and twisted his foot badly. It's really amazing how much articulation they put into these things. Sculpting wise, moving down from the arms, we've got underneath the armor shoulders, it feels more like skin. It's either skin or really tight fabric over skin. And he's got another one of his. He's got a pauldron on his arm, or a gauntlet-like thing. I always forget what you call the things around the wrists that protect the wrists, but he's got two of them, one on each side, and they're not different. They're exactly the same. And he's got a unique thing about him where he doesn't have much armor on his chest area. Like he's wearing the top half of a shirt, but not the bottom half of the shirt. It's like he cut away all the midsection bit. And it looks weird, at least for the feeling bit, but then again, this guy's crazy evil mastermind, so he can dress how he wants. Though that does help out a lot, because you can get some more movement into him, where you wouldn't be able to with a lot of the men figures, because their armor generally goes down to their crotch area. Since his doesn't, you can actually get some good posability. He's got a lot more posability in his chest area than many of the male G.I. Joe action figures that I've come across. We'll move down from there. He's got this really nice belt. From what I understand, I was watching a video Viper Island did on it, And Viper Island was explaining how they did a really good paint job with the belt buckle in the Comic Con exclusive, but sadly that isn't the case with the retail exclusive. It's just going to be a flat black belt, from what I understand from watching other YouTubers talk about the colors. But this belt also has a couple of peg holes in it where you can fit his weird accessories like his snake head and his monkey paw. Moving down from the belt, before I forget, he's got some really cool molding going on in his midsection area. Like this guy he's got that Adonis muscle structure going on in his midsection. Like, if he wasn't an evil genius, this would be a hot man. All right, so we move on down to his legs, and we get this nice armor padding that's textured on his upper thigh. And then we move down to his kneecaps. He's got these nice knee pads on that have a flat texture to them. Feels like they're made of metal because there's little pop marks in it and stuff. I assume that it's supposed to be metal kneecaps. And then you move on down to just the regular feet that most of the Joes come with. They all come with similar boots, but all the boots are nicely textured. And this one has a better benefit of they textured the heel of this boot, and with my finger I can barely find the peg hole in the heel because there's texturing all around it, and I really like that. They didn't have to texture the bottom of the feet, but they did. That was really cool. That's something that not many people do. That's an attention to detail that I really appreciate with the G.I. Joe Classified series. That is the attention to detail that they have, and that's why I review these action figures, because I see them as and feel them as being works of art that I recommend to many people to get, because I've never experienced action figures like this before, and maybe the original Toy Biz Marvel Legends stuff was very similar, but this is just better detail. The only negative to these GI Joe Classified figures is there's no hand articulation, and that's about it. I wish it came with more hands. I would like more hands, or at least hand articulation with my Joes, but as Joes go, this one's a good one. Yeah, this is a good Cobra to have amongst your ranks. He's an amazing figure. If I had bought him before I did my best action figures of 2021, he would have been in the best action figures of 2021. I'm sorry, Lady. He may have actually replaced Lady J, or may have replaced the Transformer, because he was just that good. He is a really amazing figure, and if you can get him, get him. He's worth it. He is a great contribution to it, and especially if you've got yourself a Snake Eyes and a Storm Shadow. Like, I'm waiting on the retail release for Storm Shadow coming up, and I've got my Alpha Commando Snake Eyes, which I've always enjoyed the Commando Snake Eyes more than the Ninja Snake Eyes. That's my opinion on the matter. But anyway, guys, that's about it. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and please go below and comment, like, subscribe. Tell me what you think of the G.I. Joe Classified series so far. I'd really like to know that. Though I don't know why I keep asking questions of my viewers. I rarely get anybody who actually puts in the comments and answers the question I've asked in the video. Like, is anybody even watching right now? Let me know. Are you watching at this moment? Did you watch all the way through? Did you? Okay, well, next time we'll be doing something else, and I hope to see you then. Well, I won't see you then, but you'll see me then. So, until next time.